Welcome to an episode of Sunday Dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Today I decided to actually cut the whole
Yep.
chicken. I was going to roast the chicken whole, but I got home. My grandson said he was hungry, met me,
Mm-hmm.
said he was hungry. Was I cooking? I knew roast chicken would take about 2 hours, so I had to do something quicker. So I decided to just cut the chicken. That's my vinegar that I use to always clean the chicken, cold water, and vinegar. That is it. Chicken will get clean. Now I'm cutting up the whole chicken, cutting all the pieces. I always cut the tip off the wing. I always add a little bit of the breast meat onto the wing. Cut those tips off. It's so unnecessary. Nobody's going to eat that. I really get detailed and clean up all the fat off of the thighs because I hate to bite into the fatty part of the thigh. It's just gross to me. So I cut it all up. I really clean out all of it. That's the gizzard, all the giblets. We want all of that cut up. I always cut up the breast a few times because it's just too big to cook the whole breast. But there I am cutting up that fat off the thigh. You gotta actually slit a part of it to get that fat off of it, and I get it all because I do not want to bite on it and have that gushing in my mouth. It's just, ah. So I clean up yes, all of that part out of I don't know, out of the crevices, anything that's in there. I want it all out because I don't want it in my plate. I don't know if anyone else does, but it's not going to be in mine. So I don't want it in my pot. You go. I don't know if everyone knows how to cut up a chicken, but it's pretty simple, piece by piece. And vinegar, as I said, is in that water to get it done, get it going. I actually didn't have to, I mute the sound because my son and I were having a discussion. I got home and he was there with his daughter, with his kids, and we were talking as I was doing that. That's why I muted the background. So there you have it. I put everything in a plastic bag that needs to go in the trash. Clean out my sink, wash everything off. As I'm cooking, as I'm prepping, I am washing dishes. I am cleaning up everything as I go because I do not like cross contaminating. So I'm constantly washing dishes, wiping down, and cleaning. So now I have everything cleaned up. I can start my seasoning. I cut up about half of an onion, almost a whole onion. I usually will cut up definitely half of an onion. This is my brown stew chicken, as I said again. It's going to be different than the regular stew chicken. We usually make the regular Belizean stew chicken. This is the brown stew chicken because you're going to thoroughly brown the chicken first. Not thoroughly fry, but actually brown the chicken first. See, I had to go get another onion because it just wasn't enough. The onion for me helps to thicken the juice, the gravy. So I put a few garlic. I never do just about two or three. I do about six every or more. So I've broken a garlic press doing too much at once. So I had to get that one. That one is so strong that I have, and it works good for me. So even that, it was too much, too many that I put in at once. So got the garlic out of there. I decided those of you who know traditional down home way of cooking, we don't measure. We don't measure with teaspoon, tablespoon, cups, nothing. Everything is just eyeball. Everything is just made with love from trial and error, taste. That's how I learned to cook from my grandmother. So in this batch, because some have asked me, I decided to try to see. So that's the thyme. That's 1, 2 teaspoon. And the oregano, I did about the same, 2 teaspoon. I mean, you just look at it and could tell if that looks like too much or not. That's how down home chefs do, or cooks, because we aren't chefs, so we don't measure. So you could just estimate by what I'm doing there. And I'm still looking at it like, okay, that looks like enough. That was 1 teaspoon. And the pepper, I'm gonna do the same, like, okay. But it's still just looking in the meat, into everything to see what goes. So 1 teaspoon. So 1 to 2 teaspoons for everything. So thyme, oregano is 2 teaspoons. Garlic powder, black pepper is 1 teaspoon. I use half of a onion, the sweet or Vidalia, I believe it's called onion. That's the Worcestershire sauce. I usually can pronounce it when I see it. And I believe that was 1 tablespoon of that I put. It just gives it a nice tang. And I forgot what I'm looking for over there. I'll be able to tell you when I see what was I looking for. Red wine vinegar. We put vinegar. My grandmother used to put regular vinegar, but I've come to like the red wine. So that's 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of vinegar. You could put regular vinegar or red wine. Doesn't matter. You put whatever it is that you have, it will work. So now you need some salt in it. This is really eyeballing too, so I'm just gonna put 1, 2 teaspoon of salt. Three. Three teaspoon of salt because it is a whole chicken. And it was not salty, but just because I wasn't sure, I didn't put any salt when I made my broccoli. There was no need for it. I don't put any salt on my vegetables. So I'm looking for something else over there to put on. That's curry, straight from Belize. My sister went back home and she brought us back some curry. So there you go. 1 teaspoon looked like enough for me. See, I could have gotten another one, but looking at it, I'm like, that's enough. So that's all it is. You just eyeball when you're seasoning. It's no precise measurement or amount for anything as far as teaspoon, tablespoon. Just pour it and that's it. Next time you'll know, oh, okay, that was too much. So I'll put half a teaspoon. Next time you'll be like, oh, it wasn't enough. So I'll put more. And that's it. This day, I shouldn't have made the brown stew chicken because it actually took longer. So this meal entirely took about an hour, 10 minutes to do. Had I not done the brown stew chicken, it could have been a whole lot easier. It could have been about 40 minutes, including the cutting, 40, 45 minutes, including the cutting up of the chicken. So there I'm heating up the oil and I'm going to get started. Okay, I still got to put the bell pepper. That's fresh bell pepper out of my garden outside. So crunchy and cute. That's why it wasn't too big. I don't know if I'm picking them too soon, but I needed it. And I wasn't going to the store when I already have. So what was I doing with that grease? I think, yes, I put too much. So it runs a lot of it out. I didn't want to deep fry the chicken. I just wanted to brown the chicken. So And I hate cooking chicken without marinating it at least a couple of hours. But like I said, I didn't plan to do it. I was going to roast it. My roast chicken doesn't need marinating, but so I just squeezed it up some. And this is where I'll get to that. But now the grease is hot. I'm going to brown them individually, and you don't want them to touch too much because then that makes them uh, boil. Too much of the juice come off of it, and it's not actually frying. So you don't want them to really touch. You want to give them space to not sweat and make them actually fry. See, I waited too long. I was just doing too much, too fast. I waited too long to turn the fire on the other one. I actually just wanted to use the blue pot, the let's say. I was going to use that to actually stew the chicken. So I thought I'd brown some in there and then transfer the one out the darker, the black pot. I was going to transfer them over there. So just browning each side. And I am using a fork, but I am not poking the meat at all. I'm only using a fork to flip them over. I only pierce the meat when I'm putting them in there. But after that, you're not piercing your meat because you don't want the juice to come out of it. So once it's cooked like that, see, I'm only using a fork to flip it over. I am not penetrating the meat with the fork at all. And as you can see, the other pan really wasn't hot enough, but I had to start going because I already regretted doing it. I should have just done it the regular stewed chicken. It would have been faster because that I don't worry about browning it so intensely as this brown stewed chicken recipe that I do. And with me, I'm so anal with burnt stuff, so I didn't want it. So I kept scooping out the burnt onion that got in there. I didn't want anything to burn too much. So that's why I kept scooping something out. So I have the fork and the spoon because I was using the spoon to carry it over because I didn't want to pierce it with the fork, as I said. So see, I'm going to use the chicken broth now. Usually, with my stewed chicken, I only use water. With my brown stewed chicken, with this, because I did not marinate it, I'm using the chicken broth to get up the brownness from the bottom of the pan. Put some of the onion and bell pepper in there. I use the liquid to scrape up the bottom, the flavor, because I don't want that to stay stuck to it. That's a part of the flavoring of the meat. So I use that chicken broth, the liquid, to scrape it up. And now I'm going to transfer everything over to the pan that everything's going to get cooked in. You just got to keep going because I don't want to brown it. I don't want to burn anything. So I'm just putting the rest of the flavor in there, not the rest of the grease. And that is it. Now I add water because if you add too much of the broth, it's going to be too salty because you already salt the meat. So I don't want that. And I don't like the flavor of it to be so much of the fake broth. I want the real broth from the chicken itself. That's why I add the water. So I just put that frying pan inside the oven until it cools off because I don't wet my um, pan. I don't wet my hot pan because you're not supposed to messes it up. So I just put it out the oven to get it out the way because I needed that burner for my rice. I put my butter, just made rice-a-roni. 2 packs of rice-a-roni as quick as the chicken is cooking. Nothing fancy about the rice-a-roni, just as it is on the package. That's all I did. Nothing different. Brown it. I just did 2 packets. So I almost doubled the water, a little short of doubling it. I believe it would be 4 cups because it's 2 packs. That's some cilantro I'm putting over the meat. And I believe I ended up adding, yes, I had my son go downstairs to the garden and get some thyme and oregano fresh that I will add to it. So see, it's probably 2 cups, so two for 2 packs, 2 for 1 pack. So 2 packs, you would think it would be 4 cups of water, but I always just add 3 for 2 packs. Get it? So I lessen the water. So 1, 2, 3 and a half. So I did use a little more of that, but I didn't want the complete 4 because I don't like my rice so soggy. So I did not use 4 cups. I did not just double it because it's like double the packet. And I always turn down the stove, put it on a smaller burner, tell Alexa to set a 20-minute timer, checking on my chicken, and the meal was going. It will be delicious when it was done. Now it's wine time. Time to add some wine. I was back there fumbling around looking for my wine bottle and stuff, so it's time to add some wine. Not to the meat, to my glass. I was having such a hard day. I was like, or long day. I'm like, let me get me a glass of wine and enjoy it while this meal continues. I don't even think I finished what I even poured, but it was a nice idea. It was cute to see the glass sitting there. So watching this meat bubble the rest of the way. Let me see, how long did it take? The liquid has dissolved down, boiled down halfway for me. So now I'm going to add the remainder of the herbs in there. And yes, I get it all. I do not waste any of my spices when I'm cooking. You want to add a lot of it at this point because it just flavors the gravy so much more. So that's some fresh thyme and oregano from my little garden that I have. And yes, pull that all off. It's such a great aroma, great flavor when you add a little to the beginning and the rest in the middle towards the end. So that's what I do. I scrape the flavor off the edges that's stuck as it's boiling. I put my little habanero pepper in there because I want that in my plate as I'm eating. It's delicious. So this is just going to boil down and it will be done. It came time for me to check up on the rice to see what's going on. Stir it lightly, just folding, not stirring, just folding. Just not trying to make soup out of your rice, you're just folding it. Top to bottom, bottom to top. And then put the lid back on and let it steam. It's on such a low burner, you could barely see it. It's just on a simmer, very low. So that is it. I'm going to cover it back up and to leave the burner on low. Just let us finish it up. It's not burning. It's just going to continue steaming until the chicken is done. All right, because I'm doing a few things at once, I started boiling my water in the steamer for the broccoli. So now the broccoli is going, the rice is finishing, the stewed chicken, you can see it's almost done. I almost overdid it by, I boiled it down almost a little too much, doing a few things at once. So I just put a little garlic powder in the uh, broccoli. And I check the chicken. Yes, if you could, I do that when I can see the bottom, then it's done. When I do, see how, yes, you're able to see the bottom of the chicken, of the pan, then it's done. It's time to turn that off, or the gravy will be burnt or minimal. Yep, cover the pot, turn it off. It's done. Broccoli's finishing. Everything is done. I believe I was going to call my grandson and tell him it's time to come and eat dinner.
Yummy.
Let's see if it is.
Ready for
So,
the rest.
this is why I couldn't marinate or cook my roast chicken, because the grandson was hungry. Came over and told me he's hungry. So, you gotta blow it. That's the rice and gravy. Ooh, very hot. You gotta chew.
I just ate it.
No, you gotta chew. That's how you gotta taste. Get some chicken.
Yummy.
Use a fork because it's hot. Yes. So use a fork. Because it's the chicken, I want to know if you like it since I didn't marinate it. Yeah.
I taste the sauce. It looks
sauce
like a
is
lemon.
good.
Lemon.
Mm. Tell me what you think when you taste it. Well, you don't chew anymore.
I chew.
You chew?
Broccoli.
It tastes good, just like before? Or last time it tastes better?
Tastes the same. Thank you.
You're welcome, Bubba. Enjoy. So you're gonna stay here and eat, or you're gonna go home and eat it?
Stay.
Okay. Say bye.
Bye-bye.